Super Mario Odyssey vs Mario Bros. Wonder. Super Mario Bros. Wonder was just released on the Nintendo Switch, and it is the best 2D Mario game of all time. Also on the Nintendo Switch is Super Mario Odyssey, and it is the best 3D Mario game of all time. So in this video, I'm going to be putting these incredible games up against one another in 7 different categories to see which game is truly the best, starting with category 1. The very first thing you notice about a video game is the graphics. Whether you're watching a reveal trailer or first turning a game on, the graphics are the first impression that a game gives off, and first impressions are very important. Starting with Mario Odyssey, nearly every kingdom in the game has a completely different color palette, from the beautiful blues and yellows of the Seaside Kingdom to the multicolored fruits and the bright pink lava lakes in the Luncheon Kingdom. The change in art direction from kingdom to kingdom makes the game a joy to look at, giving every kingdom its own unique identity. Another thing to mention is that the backgrounds in each kingdom are just gorgeous. No moment in any Mario game can compare to being at the edge of the Moon Kingdom and looking right back at Earth. It's just so cool and looks amazing. Mario Bros. Wonder is easily the best looking 2D Mario game. As soon as you start playing the game, you're immediately hit in the face with extremely saturated greens and blues, and in every world in the game, the color palette is constantly changing, but it's always incredibly bright. The 3D overworld that you get to run around in when you're selecting levels doesn't really stand out, but it doesn't look bad by any means, it's just very basic. Both games are amazing to look at, but I have to give this point to Mario Odyssey. The most important aspect of any video game is obviously how it plays, and so gameplay is the next category. In Super Mario Odyssey, you travel around the world to 17 different kingdoms, with the main aim in each kingdom being to collect 15 to 20 power moons. After collecting those moons, you'll do a boss battle and then fly off to the next kingdom. Collecting the power moons in Mario Odyssey is what you spend most of your time doing, and I'd say 75% of them are really fun to get. They involve doing some crazy platforming challenges, or using Cappy to take control of enemies and use them in weird ways. The other 25% of moons are kind of boring. Some of them are just in plain sight, or they involve putting on a certain outfit and talking to an NPC. Another thing to touch on is the boss battles, and some of them are incredible, but then there are the fights against the Brutals that are honestly quite boring and repetitive. So the gameplay can be a little hit or miss, but it mostly hits. The gameplay in Super Mario Bros. Wonder is very simple, but man, it is nearly perfect. It's basically just 150 2D Mario levels, but outside of the player-made levels in the Super Mario Maker games, these are the most creative and well-designed levels I've ever played. While it is a bit disappointing that there are only 6 power-ups, the badges definitely make up for it as they give you heaps of different unique ways to play the game. Then there are the Wonder Flowers that completely flip the level on its head and make everything super weird and wacky. The weakest point of this game is definitely the boss fights. They're all very easy, and the final boss is incredibly underwhelming. So outside of the boss fights, the gameplay in this game is pure fun. Both of these games have their highs and lows, but there are hardly any low moments in Mario Bros. Wonder, so Mario Bros. Wonder gets the point here. A video game's controls can be its biggest make or break factor. If a game has bad controls but has gorgeous visuals and exciting gameplay, the player just won't enjoy themselves. We'll start with Mario Bros. Wonder this time. Like all 2D Mario games, the controls work perfectly. You can run, jump, sprint, and do all the normal things that you've always been able to do in the 2D Mario series. The 9 action badges are the main way that the controls really get spiced up. The grappling vine badge and fast dash badge are 2 that I absolutely love. Overall, Mario Bros. Wonder controls exactly how you'd want it to, but there aren't many moments where controlling your character is very fun. Then there's Mario Odyssey, and the controls are the best part about this game. Controlling Mario in this game is some of the most fun I've ever had controlling any video game character ever. Mario alone has a huge arsenal of moves. There's the jump, double jump, triple jump, dive, wall jump, and the ground pound jump. Then there's Cappy, who you can throw in countless different ways and also jump on. Cappy also allows you to control 52 different enemies or objects in the game, and all of them control completely differently and are so much fun to use. Well, there are 7 or 8 captures like the rocket and tree that are pretty boring, but I'd say 45 of the captures in Mario Odyssey are just fantastic to play as and control. Both games are easily the most creative in their respective series, but I decided to give the point to Mario Bros. Wonder. In an era where the best-selling games are always copy and paste sequels, most video game developers are scared of doing anything remotely creative. So it's incredibly refreshing that Nintendo have poured so much creative effort into both Mario Bros. Wonder and Mario Odyssey, making them the most creative 2D and 3D Mario games ever. So this will be a very tough category to score. Super Mario Odyssey oozes creativity. Of the 17 kingdoms that you travel to, 16 of them are completely new places that Mario has never been to. There are new enemies and NPCs in every kingdom. The capture mechanic allowed the developers to run wild with their imagination, letting them add frickin' dinosaurs and frogs to the game. Some of the 3D platforming challenges are a bit uninspired, but this is made up for by Odyssey having some of the most crazy 2D platforming challenges that I've ever played in a Mario game. The boss fights are creative for the most part, except for the ones against the Brutals, where it feels like the developers just couldn't be bothered putting in any creative effort. Like most Mario games, the story isn't creative at all, with Bowser just kidnapping Peach. In a time where 2D Mario games were some of the most uninspired games that had zero creativity, Mario Bros. Wonder literally saved the 2D Mario series. Like Mario Odyssey, this game is full of creativity and truly let the developers do whatever they wanted to do. The story of this game doesn't involve Peach getting kidnapped by Bowser, which is a plus. All 8 of the worlds are never before seen, and there are 14 brand new enemies that are all very unique. The new power-ups are all fun to use, but they aren't very creative. The elephant power-up just feels like it's trying to wow the players in the same way that the dinosaur did in Mario Odyssey, and the bubble flower is just a built-in bubble Yoshi. The drill mushroom is creative though. The boss fights are not creative at all, I found them very underwhelming, but the effects of the wonder flowers are some of the most wowing segments of any 2D platformer that I've ever played. There are moments in the game where all the enemies are just singing and it's just so creative. Both games are easily the most creative in their respective series, but I decided to give the point to Mario Bros. Wonder. Whether a game is replayable or not can determine if someone is gonna buy a game. Video games are very expensive, and so if a game has a good story but nothing to do after you beat it, it would leave a pretty bad taste in players' mouths. Kicking it off with Mario Bros. Wonder. A whole new world unlocks, and this world has some of the best levels in the entire game. To 100% the game, you've got to collect every Wonder Seed, get every level's purple 10 coin, buy every standee, and obtain every badge. Doing these tasks basically just involves playing the same levels over and over again, which is fine, because the levels in this game are awesome. But other than the special world, nothing new is brought to the table when the credits finish rolling. So if you're not a completionist, there isn't too much replayability in this game. Super Mario Odyssey's endgame is massive. As soon as the credits roll, not only do you unlock the Mushroom Kingdom, which allows you to capture Yoshi, challenge nearly every boss that you versed in the story, and start completing achievements, but there's also a boss rush in the Dark Side Kingdom, and a really hard final level in the Darker Side Kingdom, with both kingdoms unlocking after the credits roll. Obviously, there are also hundreds of Power Moons for you to collect, and 50 purple coins to collect in each kingdom. Both games are easily the most creative in their respective series, but I decided to give the point to Mario Bros. Wonder. Some of the best video game memories you'll make in your life are from co-op play, whether it be couch co-op or online co-op. So the quality of a game's cooperative features or game modes is incredibly important. In Mario Bros. Wonder, you can play through the entire game with up to 4 players using couch co-op, with couch co-op being very easy to set up and start playing. In terms of online co-op, when you play any level in the game, you can see live player shadows, which are basically just the characters of other people who are also playing the exact same level as you in real time. You can't interact with the players, but seeing heaps of other character shadows run around is really cool. Super Mario Odyssey completely sucks in terms of co-op. In the story, you can play with up to 2 players, with one player obviously being Mario, and the second player controlling Cappy, which might sound fun, but no, it's not fun at all. Then there is absolutely no online co-op at all, which is quite disappointing. This category wasn't close at all. Super Mario Odyssey offers way more replayability, and so it gets the point. A video game soundtrack is often the most memorable aspect of most video games. Whether you're humming the Mario Bros theme or getting absolutely hyped to the Smash Bros Melee theme, a video game soundtrack is what sticks with you years after playing a game. Mario Odyssey's soundtrack is superb. Each kingdom has its own theme that perfectly reflects its atmosphere, from the upbeat soundtrack of the Metro Kingdom to the chill music in the Wooded Kingdom. Then there's Jump Up Superstar, which is the main theme song, and it just absolutely slaps. Also, whenever you're in a 2D section, Odyssey's soundtrack turns to 8-bit, which is just the icing on top. Mario Bros. Wonder has a very, interesting soundtrack. In the main theme, there is a guy just humming really loud, which I'm not a fan of at all. Each world has its own soundtrack, and whenever you're using the elephant power-up, the music actually changes to the elephant version of the soundtrack, which is a really neat touch. And often, the elephant soundtrack sounds better than the regular one. Other than the main theme, nothing in this soundtrack really stands out to me though. This category wasn't very close. Mario Odyssey's soundtrack easily takes the point. Even though both games are two of the best Mario games in existence, I decided to give it to Mario Odyssey. Let me know why I was wrong about anything in this video so we can have an argument about it in the comments. Thank you for watching, and the video's done.